Hello, hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art, and it's Wednesday, but it's not. I think I started out with the wrong title on there. Scrap, it's almost Monday. Let's create. Oh my gosh, I'm a half a week behind. I'll switch that after we're done the video tonight. That's going to confuse everybody. It's Wednesday. What part of the world is it Wednesday? Oh, it's been a busy few days. We had convention with Close to My Heart, and that was really exciting. Learned lots, but apparently I don't know what day of the week it is. Good evening, Ellie. Nice to see you're watching, and Carol's here too. Hello, hello. I know, Heather. Yeah, I'm going to have to change that when I finish the video. I didn't want to stop it and start again, so it's just going to say Wednesday for now, but we'll fix it later. So welcome, everyone. If you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy. So I know you're here, and if you're watching later on replay, when it actually says that it's scrap, it's almost Monday, let's create, then you can just say replay. One of those days. We are creating a layout tonight. We're going to be using the Cape Cod collection for this layout, and we're going to be starting out with a blank piece of white daisy paper, and I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive here in the center. I don't even know why I bother flipping it over. It's the same on both sides. And we're going to just glue it down to the Versamat so it doesn't shuffle around on me as we're creating this evening. Right, Deborah? You thought it was Sunday. Well, you know, stranger things. All right, so we are going to be creating a layout today. We're going to be doing a layout that was inspired by one I saw on Pinterest, because, you know, we all have to doom scroll on Pinterest and find lots of fun crafty ideas on there. And so this one was posted by B. Valent. And so, yes, I was very inspired by it. And I hope you guys are getting inspired as well. For those of you who are working on the layout tag right now, and I'm sending out the inspirations, and people are creating wonderful things. So if you signed up for that, you'll be getting yours soon too as well. And we're just kind of playing crafty telephone with those layouts. Okay, so white daisy paper. And the first thing I want to do is I want to do some stenciling. We haven't done any stenciling for a while. And this is from Stencil Pack 1. You can probably see a little bit of it here in the lights. And this is a fun one to use with this collection. So those of you who have this stencil or want to get it so you can use with this pack, it's got fun seashell border down here. It's got waves. It's got leaves. It's got hello sunshine. It's got a setting or a rising sun with some seagulls. Lots of good stuff to go with this Cape Cod collection. And I'm surprised I haven't pulled it out yet to use with these papers, but we are finally doing that. So the first thing we want to do is add some color to our paper, because when we start out with white daisy, you know, we love our white daisy, but sometimes we need to just add a little color on there. So I'm going to grab the Periwinkle ink, and somewhere over here, my desk is a little bit in chaos at the moment, but somewhere over here I have the nice little squishy pad that is drawer liner that holds my ink pad from sliding around as I create. And I'm just going to take my blending brush and grab some of that lovely Periwinkle ink. And then we are going to do just some random, very light stenciling with these waves. And I'm going to kind of work around. And with these, you kind of want to take advantage of this side-to-side motion, because there's long strips here. And if you go too up and down, they kind of flick the stencil a bit. And so that can kind of get a little annoying. So then I'm going to just kind of shift my stencil a bit and just do another layer of really light stenciling, just sort of here and there, adding in another layer. And when you do this, where you just move your stencil a little bit, what happens is you create even darker spots and lighter spots. And so let's shift it again. And this time we'll do a little bit of stenciling over here, like this. Looking good. and it creates kind of layer upon layer of wavy goodness. So then we've got this part done. We've done a little bit of water. I'm going to switch colors, and I'm going to move to the honey butter. And this is a really nice, lovely coordinating color with the Cape Cod collection. It's a bit of a tongue twister. A lot of alliteration in there. We got the Cape Cod collection. And I'm kind of working with sort of a vertical space in mind right here. So I've done some waves down here, and now we've got our yellow. Let's add some sunshine up here a little bit higher. Maybe right about there. I don't know where that is. The bottom of it's at about 8 1/4. And I'm kind of guessing. And I just want to do this very lightly. It's hint of sunshine. Okay, so we don't need anything too crazy. And I don't necessarily want to get too much of those seagulls in there, but if they get in there, that's okay. So we're going to do a little hint of sunshine, and just in case we have it the wrong spot, we'll get some ink down there in sort of the water reflection. So just a teeny tiny little bit of yellow happening right there. Okay, and then we're going to bring in a stamp from a stamp set called Setting the Scene. And for this, I actually want to use this one that has the lines, because I want to create a actually, maybe I will leave that till later, but I will use this later. I think I want to get my pattern paper on there before I decide where my journaling lines are, but I love these little stitched lines. This text is a nice pattern too, if we wanted to incorporate that, but I think we're just going to stick with the journaling lines for this project. But I want to bring in some pattern paper. And so thinking about that honey butter color that we just added there, I've got a nice strip, and this is just a 12-inch strip by 2 1/4 of the honey butter pattern from the Mix-In collection. And it's really kind of lovely. It's sort of a variegated color, and it's got like little dots in it. I don't know if the camera will even pick it up. It's a really nice soft pattern. The opposite side is honey butter with stitched sort of gingham type look to it. And so we're going to use the one with the little circles. But I want to do a bit of a treatment to the edge of this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm just going to gently go down the sides. I'm not doing a lot, just very gently, just breaking that crisp edge all the way down. I'm not going to do the ends, but I will do the other side. And just go all the way down. I suppose I could do the ends, but I don't want to. You ever craft like that? I could, but I don't want to. So there we go. But I want to distress them a little bit more, but not in sort of a rough way, more of in a three-dimensional way. And so to do that, I'm actually going to use my forefinger and my thumb, and I'm just going to kind of pinch and run along the edge. Now, you have to be careful doing this, because paper has a wonderful habit of giving one paper cuts. So you want to go slowly and make sure you're not doing it in a way that's going to get you a laceration or anything. You don't want to, death by 1,000 paper cuts. You want to just kind of curl up and ruffle that edge all the way along, and it's going to create some dimension on your page. And you can even go back and just kind of push backwards and forwards on it and give it a little bit of a wavy bit to it, because we're thinking about the water, right? This is Cape Cod. So we've created, like if you look at the end, it's curled up quite a bit all the way along. Okay, and then we're going to do the other side. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to kind of pinch it and go all the way along, creating... Oh no, Carol says she's not sure if it's video or the internet, but I'm frozen. Frozen in time. I don't sing as well as Frozen, but I could try. Let it go, let it go. Hey, Mom, nice to see you're watching. And then, of course, I'm going to come along and kind of ruffle the edge and give it a little bit more texture like that. Just kind of, I'm actually almost like pushing it down, like you would almost like push on the edge of pie dough. Just kind of crimping the edge a little bit. So there we've created a nice fun pattern. But we're going to bring in some more paper. And oh, I didn't do this one either, so you're going to get to watch that process again. So here is that fun Happiness Comes in Waves pattern paper from the collection. The back side is all the fun icons, you know, that you would see at the beach. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to rough up the edge a little bit. And this is just using the back of the blade of my closed micro tip scissors. Just run it along the edge. And that's a nice way to get a very light amount of edge distressing. Some people use the inside of the blade. Some people don't like doing that because they think it'll damage their blade, but I've done it bajillions of times. I'm sure that's not the number, but... And it creates a nice little roughing on the edge. Not too dramatic, but if you compare it to what we're doing with the paper afterwards, it's definitely a little more that we're doing a little more. Mom says she's not frozen, but fuzzing out every couple of minutes. Yeah. You know what? Toronto was under a severe storm warning today. Two of my kids were at Wonderland today, and they got downpoured, and they shut down all the big rides just after lunchtime. So the weather has been unsettled. So it would not surprise me if the weather or anything like that is affecting the internets, the interwebs. So there we go. And then let's turn it around. If you are somebody who likes flat scrapbooking, does not like to do dimension, then this particular technique might be a little bit too much for you. So you could tone it down a bit. You could just rough up the edges and leave it at that. You don't have to, you know, go for all the dimension. But I know some of you like lots of dimension, so we like to mix it up sometimes. So we're going to bring in those two pattern papers. I never even told you what size this was. This was about 1 3/4, so we're getting a little narrower. And then we're going to bring in one that I've already done all the edges on. And this is also from the Mix-In collection. It's in the lovely Sapphire. There's the back side. And this side is just kind of fun stripes. You may remember this from the crop. And we made the little tote bags, and I used this particular pattern for that. So this one was cut to 1 1/4 inches. So that's going to come in there like that. And I may find, as I'm putting these on here, that I may have to adjust some of my stenciling down here. I might have to add a little bit more. Or I may decide to trim down some of my paper because I didn't quite want that much. And I was kind of trying to compensate for the edges being curled up. And I'm thinking that I just left a little too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim down this one. So let me grab my paper trimmer. And you can always do this. It's not, you know, crafting is never written in stone. You might get halfway through a project and be like, nah, that's not what I want. And I'm going to change it. And that's totally okay. Totally can do that. Now, it's a little bit difficult because this is now roughed up. So we're kind of, by guessing by golling, this trimming. So we've taken a little bit off there. And I'm going to take a little bit off of this larger one as well. Which means we're going to have to do the edge again. But that's okay. Totally okay. Of course, now the measurements I gave you are wrong. Ta-da! Just keeping you on your toes. That's all. That's all. So let's go ahead and we'll rough those two up again. And I think that will be a nicer fit for what I want to do. I think I left myself too much room, assuming that roughing them up would cut down on their height. So this one now, for those of you who want to know, is 1 1/2. So I took 1/4 inch off that one. And I'll measure this one for the inquiring minds. It's always the saying, right? Inquiring minds would like to know. This one is 1 3/4. So let's just double check this now before we go through the process. And make sure we're happy with what's there. And I can use those pieces that I cut off. Yeah, that looks better. I can use those on a card. They won't get wasted. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to just quickly and hopefully without giving ourselves a paper cut. Just curl up those edges. And I think this is kind of fun because it plays into that watery look, that sort of wibble wobbly, or fabrics in the breeze. Any way you want to look at it, kind of just changes the texture of just plain pattern paper into something a little bit more exciting. Oh, Carol says it's okay now. Yay! It came back. It's like the cat. My husband, I don't know if you guys know Fred Penner. He's a Canadian kids performer. And the other day, he introduced the kids to Fred Penner, which is really funny because my two oldest are, 19 and 20, almost 21, and made them listen to the song about the cat came back. The cat came back the very next day. Yep. So it came back. The internet's just like the cat. We thought it was a gunner, but the cat came back. I'm sure that's copyrighted. I probably shouldn't sing it on a video, but that's okay. Alrighty, let's go. And we're going to kind of put it at 6 3/4, 6 7/8, somewhere along there. A little bit of our sun poking up. I like using my Versamat, as long as my paper is straight, to line up my papers across my page, because you can look at the ruler lines on each side and get them pretty close to where you want them. Let's add some adhesive on this next one. I'm trying not to push down too hard because I don't want to get rid of that lovely texture that we just bent in there. There we go. And another one. And happiness comes in waves. You ever have that feeling, when you're thinking happy thoughts, maybe about somebody who's not with us anymore? Sometimes sadness comes in waves, but happiness comes in waves too. So we're just going to kind of push those two together and see if we can't get them sort of going across, and then try to make sure that they're kind of, and I might use my piercing tool to help me with this, kind of lift them up. So those two curled up edges are kind of butting up against each other like that, where they're kind of creating a ridge. And I think that kind of looks like, the sand just under the edge of the water. The sand will have those fun ripples in it. And I think that's kind of the vibe it's giving me. That fun, sandy, ripply vibe. It's so funny because the sand seems so smooth and soft, and it just shifts in the water so easily. But then you stand on those little ripples sometimes, and boy, you can feel them. They don't really just kind of swish. It's not like stepping in the mud. They got some structure to it. All right. Then we're going to tuck this next one up right under there too, pushing it right into it. And hopefully lining up. I'm wandering over there, but that's life. We wander a little bit. Those who wander, not all those who wander are lost. I'm coming up with all sorts of weird things to say tonight. It's just because it's Wednesday instead of Sunday, right? And then our last piece, and this is also from the Mix-In collection. It's this beautiful toffee polka dot. The back side is this plaid. And one thing that they were pointing out at convention is that the Mix-In paper packs are some of our best-selling things. People love these Mix-Ins because they're just such a great way to extend the paper collections and add a little extra color and pattern into whatever you're creating. And so if you've never tried one, you might want to give it a go. You never know. Could find something new that you love. All right, let's lift this one up and tuck it against each other. You could always glue this if you want, but I don't want to. If it falls in, it falls in, and it'll just be kind of organic like that. There we go. So we've created those fun ridges. Now, if I pick up my whole Versamat, you can see that that has created some really fun dimension on there. I had to pick up my whole thing because I glued it down. All right, so let's get that back into place so you can see what we're doing. Okay, now the photo that I'm using for this layout is, weirdly enough, a picture of me. And I think sometimes as crafters and parents and things like that, wives especially, we tend to have less photos of ourselves than we do of our kids and the other things that are happening around us. And so sometimes it's nice to just do a layout of something, a picture of you. So of course this is a selfie because, you know, I was on vacation with my daughter and a friend of ours. And so there was nobody taking pictures of me. So all my pictures are selfies, and that's perfectly fine. But it was this really fun picture, and this is taken in Coburg, looking over, that would be Lake Ontario there. And it was just a pretty day, and we were kind of in the shade where we were, although my glasses were tinted, so it definitely was sunny out. But just the lovely waves rolling in, and I thought it was nice, a nice photo to add to this layout. But I'm going to need some foam tape to pop this up because I've got all these lovely ridges under there now. And so we're going to need to add some dimension to the photo. So in order to do this, I'm actually going to flip it this way, put it on sort of the angle I want, and then look at where the ridges are and add the foam tape. I don't know if you guys do this trick where you flip over on top of where you're working, and that gives you a better idea of where you need to put adhesive or anything like that. And I don't need a whole lot on here. The foam tape holds things on pretty good, but just enough to give me that spacing and to allow for that texture to stay. If I glued it down flat, then I would basically just flatten out all that texture that we just put in there. Now, as you put an album together, you know, some of that is naturally going to happen. Some of the texture is going to disappear, and that's okay too. But if we want to save some of it, then we can use that foam tape to help us out a little bit. There we go. And I'm just putting it on an angle there because that's fun. There's only one photo that's going on here. Although I could add more. I could even add a flip flap if I wanted. I could add, there's lots of space on a 12 by 12. But this is the only picture I took of myself, so it's going to be all by itself. So Heather, you got this mix in too. It's really nice. I like the colors coordinate with this collection and the fall one, but they're just colors, right? So toffee and sapphire and honey butter. Actually, all three of these are from the mix-ins. Only this one is from Cape Cod. And it's nice because you just get a color and a pattern, and it mixes in with whatever you want. Hence the name Mix-In. We like it. Like it a lot. So then I kind of went digging around on the sticker sheet and in the embellishments, and I thought this one was kind of cute. Welcome to the beach. So I've got it, and I've popped it up with foam tape, and I already did the anti-static pouch on here. So I'm thinking of using this, Welcome to the Beach. And then I also thought that this sort of rounded top on it kind of went with the, you know, with the sun, kind of a thing. And then there were a couple other words that I wanted to add. There's this vitamin C. I thought that might look nice on there. And I've also got Paradise Found. So what I'm going to do is I'm going, without sticking anything down, because, you know, you don't have to make all your decisions all at once. I want to kind of just bring in some embellishments. So then I went through the embellishments, and there's the toffee or craft colored paperboard, and there's a bunch of these pieces that look like driftwood. And so I was thinking those might be kind of fun to tuck in and around what's happening here with the layers. I think there was another one. There's another one. And then I also was looking, actually maybe this one could go down here, and this one could go up here. I don't know. We're kind of just playing. And then there's also like these leafy numbers that are here. We got a couple different sizes. There's all sorts of fun things. And like, okay, there's no palm trees in Coburg, Ontario, Canada. But it's leaves, and there are ferny things and stuff around. There's also, you know, things that have shells. This looks like a snail shell to me. And so, you know, there could be a snail shell somewhere nearby. We have snails on our front porch. You know, lots of different things. I've even got some of the white ones here too. There's a little seahorse. Okay, I can also assure you that there's no seahorses in Coburg at the lake, but that doesn't really matter. We can add it in here. What we're kind of trying to do is to create a fun, just little collage of interesting things. You know, those books where you have like Look and Find and you just see all the little bits. So sometimes I find when we have collections like this, and we were kind of discussing this the other day, you know, collections that have ephemera and little embellishments and things, we don't often use them all. We pick and choose ones to go here and there, and we don't often use them all. So sometimes it's nice to create a layout where we just kind of chuck them all in there, just for fun and layers and just because. It doesn't have to mean anything or represent anything. It's just, it's fun. Why not? Throw them in there. So I've got some little white ones, you know, some little shells and things. We're going to throw those in. And then we've also got the little white seagulls. And I'm going to put those up here kind of where the seagulls were in the stencil. And just kind of lay them there for now, like so. And just take a look at it and say, do I like it? Do I not like it? I can even take a look at the sticker sheet and say, what else can I add? And I think I might even add a few more things from here. I'm kind of keeping everything in a vertical over on this side. And because we have this strong horizontal presence, but we've done a little bit of inking vertically, and so my embellishments are going to kind of go vertically as well. And we'll also add in our journal lines here as well. And I want them to kind of be in the center, I think. So I think that's my next step, is I'm going to add in the journal lines. And I was trying to think what color I wanted to do them. And I think I don't want to use the same periwinkle that I've got here. So I'm thinking about the Sapphire, using Sapphire as my journal lines. So let me just grab that over here from the stack of inks. We've also got Bluebird that's in here, which is nice. But I think we're kind of used to seeing lines being a little bit dark. So I've got my Sapphire here. I've got my journal lines. I have no idea what I'm going to write. I'm going to think about some thoughts. That's great. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this here. I'm going to shift it down a little bit so that I can start writing right on the top line. So this is kind of going to play in with those lines that we created over here. Oh, looks like I hit it twice. That's okay. It's going to play in with our waves that we stenciled on there, but also provide a nice spot to do some journaling, which I struggle with. I'm sure you have heard me say that before, that sometimes the journaling gets left off of my pages. And so I'm trying to be good, trying to force myself to think about doing journaling. So I'm going to add in my welcome to the beach. I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. And so much backing paper. There we go. And let me see. I think I liked where it was. I think that little guy can stay there. It's just going to kind of sit there, right there like that. Yes, yes. Then we need to start adding these in, and I'm going to use some liquid glue for this. Here we go. And you know my trick for these little guys that are kind of dainty looking. We add a little bit of glue, tap it in there, and this one, it's going to kind of reach up and over like that. So I'm going to have to hold it there for a second, actually. That didn't stick down. Whew. It was popping right up. We wanted dimension, didn't we? It was just popping right up. And this guy's actually kind of stuck in the foam tape, so I don't have to do anything with him. This guy also is a little bit stuck in the foam tape, but we'll add a little swipe of glue. There we go. Let's add our vitamin C. And of course, this is not the sea. This is Lake Ontario, but nobody minds. We can borrow the word sea. And then this guy looks like he was actually glued down with the foam tape too. So we'll just add a little extra dab for insurance, if the glue would like to travel. My glue is getting kind of empty. Is it coming out? Can't see. I'm in the shadow. There we go. I'll leave it laying on its side. A little bit there. I kind of like how this little starfish ended up on the edge of my photo. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick them right down there. Just like that. Very cute. And maybe I might even tuck that shell in there like that. So let's add some glue to my shell and just stick them in there like that. And let's add our Paradise Found. I might shift it over a little bit like that. Very nice. How about this little seahorse? We're going to tuck him in here too, but I think I'll add a little foam tape. Let's grab this. Now I'm starting to mumble to myself. I always find there's a point during a creative session where I just sort of start mumbling to myself and forget that you guys are here. And yeah. Does anybody else do that? What is it they say when you're talking to yourself? You needed expert advice or something? Something narcissistic like that. Let's add a little bit more glue on here so we can tap, tap, tap. And add glue to these little die cuts. There we go. Maybe I'm going to tuck this one over towards that side. And then maybe, and add my little shell here. Maybe I'll actually add the little shell up there, the little clam shell. Add this guy. I'm running out of glue. Let me see. I think I want to add a little stickery something in there. We've got this cute little crab. Ooh, there's a piece of the backing tape. We've got this cute little crab, but that introduces a color that's not really on there, so I don't want to do that. We've got this fun sand dollar, but I'm thinking maybe this little coral might be nice to add down here as well. Again, pulling some of that blue color down like that. And so maybe I'll actually pop this up with a little bit of foam tape if I can. I'm going to have to do a little bit of foam tape finagling. Does anybody else do this with their foam tape? Cut it just a little bit skinnier so you can stick it in tiny places and not have it show too much. I do it quite a bit. And with those fun scissors, it usually works out pretty well. There we go. Just a few little notches of foam tape to pop this up, give it some dimension. We've got lots of dimension going on up here, so we don't want to lose it all when we come down here. So we're going to stick that on there like that. And what else? I've also got some. Now, did I stick all of these down? I did not. I was thinking there were probably a few that were just kind of dangling around and not actually stuck, and I was right. I have a feeling the other little clamshell is also not stuck down, and the little seahorse is probably not stuck down. What else? What else did I miss? We're playing the look and find game. What else did I miss sticking down? I think it's cute that I've got the two different seahorses on here, just hanging out, tucked in there like that. Oh, I did stick that one down. I think we're good. I think that's everything on there. But I also brought some embellishments. I have some yellow dots, and I've got some black and white dots, thinking I could add some little white dots that kind of pick up on the white polka dots here. Oh, I haven't stuck down my little seagulls, have I? I just thought of that. Yes, my mom thought of it at the same time. The birds are just flying free up there. Okay, so let's grab some of these little stars that'll kind of look a bit like our little starfish. Let's tuck one down there. And we'll tuck a couple up here. Just sneaking them in around a couple places there. Those are like honey butter flavored. Honey butter flavored. Honey butter colored. Imagine if they were flavored. Tasty. And then we've got these white dots, and I've got them in so many different containers. And let me see, that's got hearts. I kind of want to stick with dots. But they'll give a little bit of texture, even if they don't give a lot of color. A little bit of shine, a little bit of texture. I'm going to pull them all out. These are the older ones that were just dots. And then we have the newer ones that also have the shapes. Let me see, where did I put them? Right here. So these ones are the newer style. And you get the stars and the hearts and the dots. Right? So there's some stars and hearts. But I think we've got our little stars going here. We've got this little star as well. So I think we'll just stick with the dots. So let's grab a large one. And I'm going to stick it right there and kind of cover up that oopsie that I did with the stamping. That's always fun. You can just add a little something to have the oopsies make sense. And maybe we'll stick one there to cover the other oopsie. Nice. And then let's see. We could maybe put a couple up here. Just kind of waving it around like that's somehow going to give me inspiration. Let's put one there. We'll tuck one in here because that looks a little bare down there. And then maybe this other one could go up here too. Like that. There we go. A little bit of shine in there. And then let's stick down these little guys up here. I think I'm going to pop them up with foam tape too. Why not? They don't need to be left out of the fun. But we're going to have to trim it down a bit. Like that. I think that should fit. Nice, nice. There we go. And then these are going to have a lot less. In fact, you know what? I might not pop those ones up. I'm going to leave those ones flat. Let's just get some glue for them. There we go. So this is a fun kind of design to do. I'm just looking for my tweezers. A fun kind of design to do when you have... Oh, my tweezers are exactly where they're supposed to be. That's why I couldn't find them. When you have lots of those little bits and pieces, you're getting close to the end of your paper collection, and you want to just use up all those fun embellishments that you haven't used yet. And so creating a fun gallery of ephemera on the side of your page like this is an interesting way of doing it. Now, some of you may go, this looks a little bare over here. But I kind of wanted that look. I wanted, I've got a white dot stuck to my finger. Not sure how I did that. I wanted it to look a little bit more sparse over here because that kind of accentuates the other area. I can't get it off my fingers. Oh, my goodness, it's sticking to me. So there we go. That is our completed page. And of course, we can just flip it over and grab our rub and remove eraser. Right there. And just go ahead and erase that adhesive that we added to the back. Get a lift. Like that. One last little bit. All gone. That's a great handy eraser. And then there we go. There is our completed layout. We started out with plain white daisy cardstock, adding in some layered waves with our stencil from stencil pack number 1, and then added in a very, very light, just a hint of a sun up at the top there with those lovely embellishments, the little seagulls and the white dots. I love how it's sort of tone on tone. You can kind of see the outline of things. And then all of these fun mix-in and Cape Cod papers coming across with those lovely roughed up edges, kind of giving us that feel of motion of the waves and the sand ruffling on the bottom. And then all our fun embellishments, the craft, the white stickers, and our dots added in there, a little bit of stamping for our journal lines, and our photo popped up with some foam tape. I think that is super fun, and I hope you enjoyed seeing all those embellishments kind of come together and just clustering them up in one big spot there to embellish our page and get them used up so we don't have to wonder what we're going to do with them. All right, have a wonderful evening, and I will be sure to edit the video so it says that it's Sunday and not Wednesday to confuse everybody. And I'll post this picture. If you give this layout a try, just snap a photo and pop it in the comments, and I would love to see it. All right, have a wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead. Toodaloo! Bye!